Other news, Senate screens Festus Keyamo, Maria Mahmood are the ministerial nominees. ECOWAS defense chief to prioritize dialogue to resolve crisis in Niger following coup. And President Tinubu performs groundbreaking ceremony of the new 350 megawatts Gwagwalada Independent Thermal Plant, Abuja. Hello and welcome to News Now on TV 360 Nigeria. I am Simisola Adigun. The Senate resumed the screening of President Bola Tinubu's 48 ministerial nominees for the fifth non-consecutive day on Saturday. Among those who were screened are Festus Keyamo, Bosun Tijani, Lola John, Tahir Maman and Maria Mahmood. The Red Chamber had previously screened some nominees for confirmation on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. On July 27, 2023, the President had transmitted a 28-man list to the Red Chamber for confirmation. He subsequently sent a supplementary list of 19 nominees to the Senate on August 2, 2023. Now, on August 4, 2023, the President withdrew a nominee from Kano State, Mariam Shetty, from the list and replaced her with Keyamo and Mahmood. Striking resident doctors may not receive their salaries for a while as the federal government has issued a no-work, no-pay policy following their ongoing strike action. The government also directed the hospitals to maintain an attendance register for all resident doctors willing to work. This was contained in a letter written by the Director of Hospital Services at the Federal Ministry of Health, Andrew Noah, on behalf of the Permanent Secretary Olufunsho Adebiyi. NARD had embarked on an indefinite strike on July 26, 2023 to press home its demands following the expiration of a 2-week ultimatum given to the government to meet its demand. The letter said that various reconciliatory meetings by the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Labor and Employment and government stakeholders and the National Assembly had proved abortive in getting NARD to call off the indefinite strike action. President Bola Tinubu has performed the groundbreaking ceremony of the first phase of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited NNPCL's 1,350 megawatts Gwagwalada Independent Power Plant project in Abuja. Speaking at the event on Friday, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, explained that the Gwagwalada IPP is among the NNPCL's flagship power projects along the AKK corridor and a giant step towards achieving NNPCL's gas and power mandate to add 5 gigawatts into the national power generation by 2024. There are details in this report. Arriving in a helicopter, President Bola Tinubu is received by government officials as well as stakeholders in the oil and gas sector to perform the groundbreaking ceremony of the 1,350 megawatt Gwagwalada Independent Power Plant project, Abuja. The 1,350 megawatt Gwagwalada IPP consists of 3 powertrain blocks of 450 megawatts each. Each block would include 2 General Electric gas turbine generators, 2 heat recovery steam generators, 1 steam turbine electric generator, 1 direct air cooling condenser, a balance of plant equipment, and a black start diesel generator. In his speech shortly before performing the groundbreaking ceremony, President Tinubu described the project as a bold step towards fulfilling the promise to provide clean and efficient energy to Nigerians.
The groundbreaking is highly significant to the nation, and it marks the first bold step in this administration's concerted effort to establish a strong and varied energy sector that will drive the economy. Energy, I always say, is the most important discovery for humanity in the last 1,000 years. There's no life without power. We need the energy. Details, multiply effect of economic opportunity, and what we need to drive the renewed hope agenda.
On his part, Mele Kyari, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, said Nigeria has abundant gas resource which the company is leveraging and to expand access to energy and support economic growth, energy access, industrialization and job creation.
As a commercial enterprise, Your Excellency, NNPC sees these projects as an opportunity to monetize our abundant natural gas resources by expanding access to energy to support economic growth, industrialization, and job creation across the country. To achieve this national aspiration, NNPC has invested heavily in domestic gas footprints expansion projects through the delivery of the Trans-Nigeria Gas Pipeline project, which includes the Escravos to Lagos pipeline systems, we call it ELF and F1 and F2, the OB3 gas pipeline, and the Ajakuta-Kano AKK gas pipeline.
Other speakers at the event say the project was necessitated by the need to deliver gas towards achieving additional power generation capacity in Nigeria and make substantial contribution to the positioning of gas as the preferred fuel for power.
I've seen the efforts of Mr. President in restoring energy supply to the country. I think this will go a long way in cushioning the effect of fuel subsidy removal, because you have heard from him that this power supply is to be powered by gas.
It is groundbreaking indeed, not only for the facility, but for the administration, who promised in their manifesto when he was campaigning that energy was going to be prioritized. Many will produce manifestos during campaign just for the sake of winning election. But here is a man trying to implement every detail in his manifesto.
President Tinubu reiterated his promise to prioritize energy availability and stability while using available energy resources to increase power generation beyond the current capacity, as well as strengthen the integrity of the transmission infrastructure while distribution bottlenecks are removed. Simisola Digun, TV360 News. As the 7-day ultimatum given by the West African leaders for the military in Niger to reinstate President Mahmoud Bazoum draws to a close, the Economic Community of West African States of Defense staff are resolved to place dialogue at the forefront of the regional body's approach to resolving the crisis in the country. General Musa Christopher, the chairman of the region's defense chief, said this while reading the communique from the meeting to select journalists in Abuja. The body added that it acknowledged the need for a comprehensive approach that encompasses political, security, and diplomatic dimensions.
Throughout our discussions, we have collectively recognized the gravity of the situation and the urgent need for a well-coordinated response. Deliberations have been marked by a spirit of unity, cooperation, and determination to address the challenges at hand. We have examined the immediate implication of the coup in Niger Republic and its potential ripple effects across the ECOWAS region. We have also deliberated on the broader implication for democracy, peace, and stability in West Africa. I'm pleased to note that our discussions have yielded valuable insights and actionable recommendations. We have acknowledged the need for a comprehensive approach that encompasses political, security, and diplomatic dimensions. It is imperative that we translate our deliberations into concrete actions that effectively address the crisis and prevent a recurrence in the future. ECOWAS will not be used for coups. Democracy is what we stand for, and democracy is what we sustain.
War or intervention, military, is not our option of choice. It is the last resort. We want diplomacy to work, and we want this message clearly transmitted to the leaders of the junta in Niger, that we are giving them every opportunity to reverse what they have done and to return the country to constitutional order. That failing, all other measures will be on the table, including the military option.
While the political situation in Niger Republic rumbles on without any clear-cut resolution in sight, the Nigerian government says the safety and well-being of the Nigerian citizens remains a priority. Addressing members of the diplomatic corps in the Nigerian capital Abuja, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Adamu Lamowa, said military intervention will be the last option if every mediation channel fails. ECOWAS has ordered nations bordering Niger to shut their air and land borders, which did not go down well with a junta that promised to return military force with force.
Our immediate concern remains for the people of Niger, who deserve peace, security, and the right to choose their leaders through transparent and fair elections. We call upon the perpetrators of this coup to step back, respect the rule of law, and engage in peaceful dialogue to resolve whatever grievances they may have. As has been demonstrated through President Tinubu's entreaties since the time of the coup, the Nigerian government stands ready to support any mediation efforts aimed at restoring democracy and stability in Niger Republic as well as other member states. However, the region has the responsibility to ensure that the life of President Bazoum, his family members, and other political leaders detained along are safe. The region holds that he remains the legitimate elected president and head of state of the Republic of Niger, recognized by ECOWAS, the African Union, and the international community, and therefore rejects any form of resignation that may purportedly would have come from him, perhaps under duress. We therefore call on the international community to rally around the ECOWAS and lovers of democracy in Niger and elsewhere in the world at large in order to sustain constitutionalism in the country.
Real estate stakeholders have called on all tiers of government to collaborate with the private sector and increase housing investment. The experts made the call on Thursday at a media interactive session organized by the Property and Environment Writers Association of Nigeria, PEWAN. Speaking at the session, the firm's managing director, Jude Durojaye, said Nigeria had an estimated housing deficit of 28 million, indicating the need for same number of units to cater for the population. He also emphasized the need for governments to quickly intervene in the rising cost of building materials in the country, as well as address other factors affecting affordable housing delivery.
The rate at which the inflation rate is going, interest rate is going, foreign exchange rate is going, is something that has a direct effect on provision of houses. So if we want to have a good housing estate, a good house in Nigeria, all these parameters need to be well controlled or be managed for the real estate developers. So that's why we are calling on government to be able to look into it critically, especially for those in the urban sector. So if government want to intervene, one, they should intervene into this cost regulation, at least to bring the prices index down as much as possible. What they need to do first is to intervene to control those costs. The second one is a way to be able to collaborate with the housing estate to make things easier. The cost of land, the cost of documentation, how they can be able to regulate what they are using for the development of these houses.
The conflict in Niger has intensified when the delegation sent by the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to address the country's present political dispute failed to reach an agreement with the putschist to topple the democratically elected president in Niamey. As the 7-day ultimatum elapses, Nigerians have reacted to the manner President Tinubu, who also serves as ECOWAS chairman, as well as other officials, are handling the current political unrest in the troubled nation. Our correspondent, Sydney Okafor, has more details in this next report.
It's exactly 2 days left before the expiration of the ultimatum given to coup plotters in Niger by regional bloc, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to reinstall normalcy and reinstalling Ousted Mahmoud Bazoum, the democratic elected president. The ECOWAS officials have maintained its stance to use military action to enforce order after the delegation sent was not able to meet truce with junta leaders. However, some Nigerians opposed military action but called for more dialogues.
My advice to the Nigerian government to keep trying, because
If they should give it in a harder way, innocent souls are going to go for it, and that would be a harder hit on both sides. It will give a dirty record. And presently with what Nigerian citizens are facing, they thought maybe they should give it a soft landing instead of giving it a hard attack.
As the head of ECOWAS, and to the fact that Nigeria being a giant of Africa, you don't just keep quiet, right? And then you don't just keep quiet, right? But that area of military option, military shouldn't be an option at all. I will advise President Tinubu to keep on, should not be tired with that issue of diplomacy.
The Niger Republic has experienced 5 successful coups starting since 1974, with some unsuccessful attempts in between. Speaking on the developments, Segun Gadimon criticized some European countries backing the Niger Republic, adding that it is motivated by self-interest.
It will be multiple. It's going to affect Niger. It's going to affect us. Funny enough, now we have international bodies coming in. The Russians are trying to support the Nigerians now, which I find kind of very strange. But I think they're doing that basically for their own interests. Niger has a large depots of uranium, and uranium powers Russian electricity, because basically uranium is the current trend when it comes to power generation, and they probably want to dialogue with Niger for that. So I think it's all vested interests. Nigeria should tread carefully. The Nigerians are protesting. It is not Tinubu's decision. It is ECOWAS as a body, of which Tinubu happens to be the chairman.
Niger is one of the largest countries in the Sahel and plays a vital role in the fight against jihadists in the region. Its fall under military rule will have a cocktail of implication for the fight against terrorism and insurgency in the region, should the situation in the country escalate.
That region, that aspect, is a line that is cutting across from one end of Africa's geographical location to the other end, are all taken over by military rule. And there are so many sides to it. It is actually not something that's supposed to turn to war. But if care is not taken, if it's not well managed, it can lead into other things.
The coup leader, General Abdurrahmani Chiani, has ended all connections, including military agreement with France, its former colonial ruler, also called back home its ambassadors and warned citizens to be wary of foreign armies and spies as international pressure mounts to restore democratic order in the country. Sydney Okafor, TV360 News, Lagos.
We'll go on a break here, but still to come, federal government plans a 5 billion naira upgrade for the Abuja Rail transit system to ease transportation challenges following petrol subsidy removal. There's details of this story and more when we return. Welcome back. Let's take a quick recap of our top stories. The Senate has resumed screening of President Bola Tinubu's 48 ministerial nominees for the 5th consecutive day on Saturday. Among those who were screened are Festus Keyamo, Bosun Tijani, Lola John, Tahir Maman, and Maria Mahmood. On August 4, 2023, the president withdrew a nominee from Kano State, Mariam Shetty, from the list and replaced her with Keyamo and Mahmood. We also told you that as the 7-day ultimatum given by the West African leaders for the military in Niger to reinstate President Mahmoud Bazoum draws to a close, the Economic Community of West African State Chiefs of Defense Staff has resolved to place dialogue at the forefront of the regional body's approach to resolving the crisis in the country. General Mose Christopher, the chairman of the region's defense chief, said this while reading the communique from the meeting to select journalists in Abuja. The body added it acknowledged the need for a comprehensive approach that encompasses political, security, and diplomatic dimensions. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletins, for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're on TV360 Online. In business, the Nigerian government has disclosed plans to upgrade one of the only metro systems in Nigeria, that's the Abuja Rail Mass Transit System. The 5 billion naira contract was announced by Olushade Adeshola, the Permanent Secretary, FCTA, on Friday. He added that the project will be executed by China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation Limited within 12 months. Adeshola said the aim was to restore the vital rail transportation infrastructure, which he described as the lifeblood of Abuja City, citing that the Abuja Light Rail will play a crucial role in easing transportation challenges and enhancing mobility for residents. President Bola Tinubu says a comprehensive forensic audit of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is underway. The president also said a thorough overhaul of the Federal Civil Service payroll is imminent. Tinubu spoke on Friday at the presidential villa during a meeting with R.J. Banga, the World Bank president. On his part, Banga commended Tinubu for his efforts in addressing the economic challenges of the country.
We talked about what was in his mind as priorities, and I commended him for a lot of the things he's doing early in his term. Not easy. Macro fiscal reforms and stability are very important. He's very determined to do the right thing, and I think you will find the World Bank supporting him with not just financial aid, but also with knowledge and thinking around how to create the right regulatory policies and fiscal policies. So we had a very good discussion. It ended very well. Well, the fact is he's doing things that Nigeria needs to be able to do to correct its situation. If you don't correct the situation on fuel subsidy, you have a fiscal deficit that remains unsustainable. So he's trying to do all the right things. Now the question is, how do you navigate through the next few months so that you can set the economy on the right path for the future? As I discussed with him, Nigeria has to be an African champion. If Nigeria becomes an African champion, then we know that the African continent has a country, the largest country with the largest GDP, headed in the right direction. That's his vision, and that vision we share.
France will support efforts by the West African regional bloc ECOWAS to make the military coup in Niger fail, the French Foreign Ministry has said, although it did not specify on whether its backing would entail military support for an ECOWAS intervention. French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna had met with Niger Prime Minister Omoudou Mahamadou and the Niger ambassador in Paris on Saturday. Earlier, Colonna said the coup leaders in Niamey had until Sunday to hand back power. Otherwise, a threat by member countries of ECOWAS to stage a military intervention had to be taken very seriously. On Friday, ECOWAS had said its military chiefs had agreed on a plan for a possible intervention in Niger. Well, up next is Entertainment Report on News Now. The family of late actor Obin Nwafor Sentobi has announced his burial details. In a flyer released during the week, the family said he will be laid to rest on Friday, August 18, in his birthplace in Imo State. Meanwhile, a candlelight procession will be held a week before the burial on August 11, 2023 at the Civic Center, Victoria Island, Lagos. Centobi died on May 7, 2023 in Jos after battling with an undisclosed ailment. He ventured into acting in 1996 and is known for his roles in Candlelight, State of Emergency, Sakobi, Goodbye Tomorrow, Heart of Gold, Festival of Fire, among many others. Family of singer Celine Dion says they are still hoping to find a cure for the singer's rare stiff person syndrome. Her sister Claudette offered an update on the singer's health in an interview where she revealed they have been unable to find medication to manage the singer's incurable ailment. Late last year, singer Celine Dion announced that she had been diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, a rare autoimmune disease that causes muscle spasms and extreme tightness. The 54-year-old singer has said the spasms affect every aspect of her life, sometimes causing difficulties when she walks and not allowing her to use her vocal cords to sing the way she used to. And that's it on the entertainment segment of News Now. And in sports, President of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, has congratulated Nigeria, Morocco and South Africa following their qualification to the round of 16 at the ongoing 2023 Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. The victory means it is the first time an African team will win 2 games at the Women's World Cup since Nigeria's Super Falcons achieved the feat in 1999, and also the first time that the continent will have 3 representatives at the knockout stage. Following their successes, Motsepe has praised the teams, while adding that their performance is a signal of development in African football. The Baiana will hope to lead the way and make it to the quarterfinals when they battle the Netherlands on Sunday, while the Falcons battle England the following day. Debutants Morocco has a tough date with 2019 host France on Tuesday. Well, that's it on our bulletin this evening. Many thanks for watching. I am Simisola Adigun.